welcome back. Before we get into today's story, picture this. You're standing on the side of an active volcano. The ground beneath your feet has erupted dozens of times in living memory. Ash still coats the rocks around you. At any moment, the mountain could wake up again. Most people would leave. Instead, someone planted a vineyard. Not just for a season, for generations. This is one of the strangest stories in the wine world. Across Italy, families continue to grow grapes on the slopes of Mount Etna in Sicily and Mount Vesuvius outside Naples. These aren't dormant mountains preserved as tourist attractions. They're living volcanoes. And despite the danger, the people who farm them have no intention of leaving. In fact, their work is so difficult and has its own name, heroic viticulture. Once you see what that actually means, the name makes perfect sense. Let's begin on Mount Etna. Etna is Europe's tallest active volcano, and every eruption reshapes the landscape a little more. Roads disappear beneath lava. Vineyards collect fresh layers of volcanic ash. Stone walls that have stood for decades sometimes have to be rebuilt from scratch. Yet every spring the vines begin growing again. Climbing Etna's northern slopes, you'll find vineyards stretching more than 3,000 feet above sea level, each one surrounded by hand-built lava stone terraces. No two vineyards are quite the same because no two eruptions were the same. Every lava flow created a different foundation beneath the vines. But geology isn't what makes Etna extraordinary. The people do. The slopes are so steep that tractors often can't be used. Nearly every job, from pruning the vines to harvesting the grapes, is still done by hand. Summer afternoons can be warm and Mediterranean, while nights cool rapidly in the mountain air. Every growing season asks the vines, and the people caring for them, to adapt. You could grow grapes somewhere easier. These families simply choose not to. Their reward is one of Italy's most distinctive wines. Etna's signature grape, Nerello Mascalese, produces wines that surprise almost everyone who tries them. They're elegant rather than heavy, with flavors of wild berries, fine tannins, and a subtle smoky character that seems to belong exactly where it came from. Now let's travel north to another famous volcano, Mount Vesuvius. Most people know Vesuvius because of Pompeii, the Roman city buried beneath volcanic ash nearly 2,000 years ago. But today, the same mountain supports vineyards that have been part of local life for centuries. The volcanic soil here has given rise to one of Italy's most famous wine legends, Lacryma Christi, the tears of Christ. According to the legend, when Lucifer stole a piece of heaven to create the Bay of Naples, Christ looked down and wept. Wherever those tears touch the volcanic slopes, vines begin to grow. Whether or not this story is true almost doesn't matter. Wine regions have always been shaped by stories as much as by landscapes, and few places blend history, mythology, and agriculture quite like Vesuvius. The vineyards here are planted with native grapes like Capretone and Piedirosso, producing vibrant wines with bright acidity and remarkable freshness. But what fascinates me isn't just the wine, it's the decision. Every year, these families choose to farm beneath mountains capable of changing their lives overnight. They rebuild terraces, they clear away ash, they return after eruptions, and then they plant again. It's easy to think great wine is only about climate or soil. Sometimes it's really about persistence. To drink a wine from Etna or Vesuvius isn't simply to taste volcanic earth. It's to taste generations of people refusing to abandon a place they love. Maybe that's why these wines feel so memorable. Not because they come from volcanoes, but because they come from people willing to build a life where almost no one else would. I hope you enjoyed this story about Europe's heroic volcanic vineyards. Follow for wine short stories every weekend and longer ones like this every Monday.